So, I did a lot of work in a hospital because I had an eating disorder from being in a family that was so perfectionistic and kind of in a box. Um, Educated, but sometimes my dad would explode, and I think he had some bipolar illness. So it would be like really calm and organized, and then chaos would ensue. But to please basically my dad, I wanted to get to be a model, and he had had a girlfriend that was a model while he was married to my mom, which was not conducive for her. But I don't think my dad had the money to leave the family and start another family. I think he would have if he had had the money. But anyway, so he didn't really tell me how. He just said, be thin or skinny. Don't. But he never really told me how thin or how skinny. So I really didn't have a measure, and I was down to 107 pounds. And that's all I really cared about. I was obsessed with that, the eating and throwing up. But I think what it taught me in the hospital with doing other therapy, it let go of the perfectionism that I had grown up with. And I'm sure a lot of people have that, how you're supposed to be or how you're supposed to be. Maybe Rousseau, Emile a little bit. That and control. We all worked on control issues to not have control. And not that it was perfected, but it was a seed that they planted that came into my art. Because I see a lot of people that lean towards the OCD, and it kind of holds them back from playing and experimenting and things like that and failing. You don't want to fail. If you're a perfectionist, it's not okay to fail. And that's one thing about me is when I mess up, I'll say, I am so sorry. I really messed up. And I can own that and be okay as a human with that messing up. And I call my art mess art. But what happens is I just let go. I mean, I did a lot of figure studies and realism and things like that, drawing, so I get control. I wanted to be ingrained in my mind that it's connected. And so when you do the realism, skeletons, models, things like that, realism, it develops part of your brain that's a groove about where to put the pencil, and you practice it enough, and then you can do abstract. And I had a friend one time come in one of my studios, and he's like, he didn't say anything, but a couple months later he said, I had a real tough time with the drips on the walls. I thought they looked fine. But yeah, it was challenging to him to have that kind of spontaneity, I guess. And it was a controlled drip. Like, I knew where I was putting my paintbrush and I knew the color, but I let the drip have a life. The drip let's let the drip see what the drip wants to do. And that was the fun that I had doing the project. But I like to have my paints take on a life of their own. That's one reason I use oils, because they take a while to dry. And so you can play with them for months, really, getting it to where it seems right to me as an artist. And when it's right, then it's time to stop.